Dear friends, welcome to Learning About. There are many postgraduates who are passionate to pursue research in their area of interest, but because of the lack of financial support, they move towards alternate options like going for a job. In this video, we present you the various fellowships option available in our country. Now, for those of you who are new to our channel, we create videos on aptitude, reasoning, general awareness of exams related to government and PSU jobs. We also update you with job alerts and various career choices. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for notification on new videos. The first set of scholarships or fellowships that we are going to see are related to the University Grants Commission. Now, before we get into the fellowships, the most interesting part, of course, is the fellowship amount that you would get. So, in most of the fellowships, okay, especially all of UGC fellowships and like some of AICT and other fellowships, the amount that you get for the first 2 years, okay, which is considered as the duration for the junior research fellowship. Now that's 31,000 per month, and for the remaining years, that's usually like 3 years. Okay, so it is together it is a maximum of only 5 years, maximum of 5 years together. So first 2 years JRF, and next maximum of like 3 years SRF. That's 35,000 per month. Now, apart from this 31,000, you can also expect about 30% HRA, right? So together it will be roughly about 38,000 per month if you get selected. Also, the UGC would give you an additional amount of 10,000 or 12,000 depending upon your whether you are humanities and social science or engineering and technology. Depending upon that, you will get a contingency amount of 10,000 or 12,000 for per annum. That's like that amount is like per annum. Now that is towards your expenses of your research. Okay, so for example, if you have to buy some materials and stuff, okay, so that amount is there. Now that 10,000 and 12,000 for the initial 2 years. For the remaining period, it is 20,000 and 25,000 respectively. So this is the fellowship amount that is involved when it comes to UGC. Now, the first fellowship that we are going to see is the National Fellowship for OBC Students. Now, that is supported by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and it is streamlined by the UGC. So, this fellowship is provided through the UGC. Now, please remember, for all these fellowships, you need to have Aadhaar ID. So all Aadhaar seeding is essential for all these fellowships. And so for this OBC fellowship, every year there is an intake of 1,000, and the requirement is net JRF of UGC or the UGC CSIR net. Okay. So like 3-4 years back, this net and UGC CSIR net was not the eligibility, but now it is essential. So what you can do is, when you are in the final year or after you finish your post graduation, you can keep writing these exams, and the moment you qualify and you come in the top and you become eligible for the fellowship, you can apply for the PhD, or alternatively you can apply for the PhD and then you can qualify in these exams and then get the fellowship. Either way you can do, and so for a maximum period of 5 years you can avail the scholarship. And so once you get this fellowship, or anyone who is pursuing a PhD in all the universities and institutions recognized by UGC, they are eligible for this. And the normal central government reservation regarding the OBC, like whatever is the criteria, that is followed. Okay. And once you get the fellowship, you should register. If you have not registered, and once you get the fellowship, you should register within 3 years. Now that's applicable for all the UGC fellowships. So the second fellowship that we are going to see is related to the National Fellowship for the scheduled caste students. Now, please remember earlier this fellowship was called as the Rajiv Gandhi National Fellowship for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe scholars. Now, this is also supported by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and all these fellowships are you are eligible for PhD degrees in science, humanities, social sciences, and engineering technology. If you pursue in any of this, you are eligible for all these fellowships, and there are 2,000 slots for the scheduled caste in this fellowship, and in that 2,000, 1,500 is given for UGC NET JRF and 500 for UGC CSIR NET JRF. And the third one is National Fellowship for Higher Education of Scheduled Tribe Students. Now, this is supported by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Now, 750 slots for the scheduled tribe candidates every year for all the subjects. Now, please remember for all the other UGC fellowships, you need to qualify UGC NET or CSIR NET. But for this particular scholarship alone, for the scheduled tribe scholars, the NET exam, UGC NET exam or the CSIR NET exam is not mandatory. Now, in that case, what you have to do is you have to register first in an institution for you have to register for a PhD in an institution. After that, you have to apply for this job. I'm sorry, you have to apply for this fellowship. Also, there is no upper limit on the income. Like in some cases, okay, so there is a like you have a non-creamy layer and all that, and for this criteria, there is no non for this particular fellowship, there is no non-creamy layer also. Right. And the fourth fellowship is MANAF, the Maulana Azad National Fellowship for Minority Students. And so this is supported by the Ministry of Minority Affairs. Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, Sikh and Parsi scholars can apply for this. So again, for all these fellowships, only the full-time, okay, all these fellowships, including like AICTE, UGC, all these fellowships, only full-time PhD scholars are eligible. And of course, for this also, you need to clear either the UGC NET or the joint CSIR UGC NET examination. And a total of 1,000 slots are available per year. And in that 1,000 slot, 500 for each NET exam. Okay. And in that 1,000, 750 for the UGC NET and 250 for the CSIR. And interestingly, 30% of this fellowship is earmarked for women students. Next, AICTE fellowships. AICTE provides like a lot of small fellowships in tie-up with the eminent institutions, right? But this is this AICTE National Doctor Fellowship Scheme. This is given in large numbers. It's provided for 300 scholars like every year. And this is applicable only for AICTE approved institutions. And there is a national nodal center which will look after the process, and you need to have a 7.5 CGPA on in your both UG and PG. Also, you should have qualified either the GATE or GPAT exam in the last 5 years. That is an additional condition for the National Doctor Fellowship. The amount and all like is very similar to the UGC scholarship. And this is applicable only for a period of 3 years. And the age, please remember, should not have completed 30 years of age as on whatever be the year of applying. So this is for the AICTE National Doctor Fellowship Scheme. Now, PMFS for doctoral research, SERB, that is the Science and Engineering Research Board, and CII, that is Confederation of Indian Industry. These two organizations, they have come together and they are providing fellowships, and they are providing about 100 new fellowships every year. Once you register for a PhD, you can apply to this fellowship anytime. You can apply within the first 14 months. So they'll scrutinize and then they'll let you know. And this fellowship is for 4 years. The next one of the popular schemes, almost everyone knows this. This has been highly promoted by the government as well. So this is one of the recent fellowship schemes, the Prime Minister's Research Fellows. Uh, the condition is that you should be pursuing research in the top central universities like the JNU, etc., or like the IITs, IIScs, NITs. Should be pursuing research in science and technology, right? And the process is very rigorous, and the national convention of various IITs, like and all that, they decide the candidates. But the attractive part is the amount, the fellowship amount is almost double of what you get in the other fellowships. Like you get 70,000 for the first 2 years, 75,000 in the third year, and 80,000 per month for the last 4 years. So this is like per month amount. Okay. Also, you get a research grant of 2 lakhs per year, makes a total of 10 lakhs for 5 years. So this is the BMRF scheme. Next, you also have fellowships like the Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial Fund scholarships, which are for the specializations. As you can see, the subjects here: Indian history and civilization, sociology, comparative studies in religion and culture, economics, geography, philosophy, ecology and environment. The duration is up to 2 years, and the scholarship is like 18,000 per month. Probably they would have updated it. Okay. One of the problems that we have, like in finding out this information is that, okay, most of the sites, okay, including the government sites, okay, so they have not really updated, okay, and like the latest updates, either the affiliated institutes or the institutes, which get these grants, or the individuals, they know it, okay. So it is often comes via the circular, okay. The circular is there also somewhere in that website, okay, but it is very difficult for you to really go out and like find which circular is the latest and all that, okay. So probably it should be more, I guess. So the information that is officially available, 18,000 per month is the value of scholarship, and that's for 2 years. And they also provide a contingency expenses of 15,000 per annum. So this is JNMF. Okay, and the eligibility condition, both PG and UG, should have got 60%, and for this scholarship, you should have already applied for a PhD degree in any recognized institution, and then you can apply for this scholarship. And age should not be more than 35 years of age. Also, many departments of under the various ministries, they provide scholarships. We'll see the popular ones. First, we'll see the DST and DBT. So DST is the Department of Science and Technology. So they provide numerous scholarship. Especially, they provide scholarship in tie-up with the top eminent institutes. For example, so they have some tie-up with the in Tamil Nadu, for example, they have tie-up with Anna University, Bardiyar University, Coimbatore, and so on. So they have like institute-specific fellowships. Also, they provide other fellowships like the one you see here, the Innovation Policy Fellowship. There is a JRF. Also, there are other categories, right? And apart from this, like they provide many scholarship for Indians who want to go abroad, or like Indians who have done research abroad. If they want to come back to India, so they can come back, and then so they provide many fellowships. So I'm just giving you a list. Like you can go to the respective sites and then get the details if you belong, if you are pursuing a specific research related to science and technology. Then, if you see the Department of Biotechnology, they provide many fellowships. So one of the prominent one is DBT JRF in biotechnology, for which they conduct a separate test called the biotechnology eligibility test. So based on that, they provide the JRF. Apart from that, so like the DST, they also have like tie up with many organizations, and then they provide fellowships like the Tata Innovation Fellowship, Ramalinga Swamy Re-Entry Fellowship, Margadasi Fellowship, etc. This is from the Department of Biotechnology. Also, there are many autonomous body under various ministries. They provide many fellowships. Okay, I just give one example, and then I'll show you the list of others. So, for example, the National Council for Hotel Management and Catering Technology, they provide research fellowship scheme for people who are pursuing PhD in hospitality management and administration, and this is provided for a period of 3 years. Of course, other autonomous bodies like if you see the NCRT, the National Council for Education, so they, if you see, if you pursue something research related to education, especially towards the upliftment of rural India and all that, so they provide fellowships for that. So ICMR, the famous ICMR, they provide international fellowships. There is also Indian Council for Social Sciences and Research. They also provide fellowships. Then you have ICAR, okay, Indian Council for Agricultural Research. They do a lot of like research, both like PhD kind of research, and they also provide other kind of funding. Then we have the Science and Engineering Research Board. So all these autonomous bodies, they also fund towards your PhD. Also various ministries, like they provide fellowships. So for example, if you look at the Ministry of Education, okay, so earlier it was called as the Ministry of Human Resource Development, okay, the HRD ministry, now it is called as the Ministry of Education. So they provide Commonwealth fellowships, okay, where they have the tie up with the Commonwealth, and then like so they send they support people doing research in countries like, let's say, UK, New Zealand, etc. Apart from this Commonwealth fellowship, there are also other fellowships where, though in only in limited numbers, but there are also other supports provided for you to pursue your PhD in, let's say, South Korea, Japan, etc. So, Ministry of Education is supporting those fellowships. Also, if you look at the Ministry of Culture, they provide a lot of fellowship, both PhD and non-PhD. For example, let's say you don't want to do a PhD, but you want to pursue a research. Okay, you want to publish papers on that, or you want to write, like a seminal book on a particular area, like something like an anthropology, or like archaeology, etc. Like, or like something related to the folklore of your region and things like that. Okay, now you can, like or even artists, okay, so people who are, like artists, like they can apply for funding from the Ministry of Culture. Apart from the PhD kind of research, they also support, like the other research. The Ministry of Rural Development, they provide fellowships. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, they also provide fellowships. So apart from the central government, the state level universities, the state governments, they also support the research scholars. So for example, in Tamil Nadu, if you see the Anna University, they have, for the people who are pursuing full-time research in their university, so they have ACRF, Anna Centenary Research Corpus, like they support 50 research fellowships every year. They provide a stipend of 20,000 per month and a contingent grant of 25,000 per year. Now, this is for a period of 3 years. Now, for this, so to join Anna University PhD, there is an entrance exam. So, the toppers, the people who come at the top, they can apply for this fellowship. Likewise, if you see the government of Maharashtra supported institute, the Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Research and Training Institute, they provide Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar National Research Fellowship. So there are many initiatives like that. So you can, like check whichever state you belong to. You can check what are the institutes that are particularly towards your state, like what kind of funds they are providing, what kind of fellowship they are providing, and your state government also, what kind of fund they are providing. You can look at it. For example, again, Tamil Nadu government, if you see the Directorate of College Education, now they provide a monthly stipend of 3,000 per month for 60 research scholars every year. Okay, so for people who are for the scholars who are pursuing full-time PhD in government or government-aided arts and science colleges in Tamil Nadu. Likewise, one of the ministries, the Adi Dravidar and Tribal Welfare Department, so they provide, like 50,000 per year fellowship for 1,200 research scholars under this scheme. So finally, regarding the UGC NET and CSIR NET, so if you are in the final year, you can apply for these exams, or if you have already registered for a PhD, you can also apply, or for lectureship, if you're trying, you can apply the UGC NET exam. Okay, now CSIR NET exam, uh, that is especially for providing the Junior Research Fellowship, okay, JRF. So there are yearly about 30 to 100 slots available for JRF. Okay. So once you get this JRF, you can pursue your PhD in various universities, IITs, like postgraduate colleges, and many recognized, like public institutions like the CSIR and all that. There are many R&D establishments. You can pursue research in any of this. So the CSIR UGC NET exam, okay, it is conducted under five major subjects. So according to your specialization, you can choose any one of the subjects. Now this is an exam, a computer-based test that happens for 3 hours and for 200 marks. So this is CSIR NET. And for CSIR NET, the maximum age limit is like 28 years. If you're more than 28, you can't apply for that exam. And UGC NET exam, so that is like a 3-hour exam, and there are 150 questions. In that 50 questions, like paper 150 questions, they test your research aptitude, the quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, and then the general awareness, etc. is tested. And in paper 2, your core subject, your specialization questions will be from your core. Now, questions related to paper 1, especially the quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, and reasoning and general awareness kind of questions, we have already created videos on that. Link to those videos are provided in the description below. You can make use of it. So I hope this video was useful to you. Now, if you have any further questions related to any of the fellowships, please post your comments. Please post your questions in the comments section below, and please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Learning About. Thanks for watching the video. Have a great day.